Yes, Spud cigarettes are so skillfully mentholated that Spuds are actually cooler than cool. So, friends, don't stop smoking. Switch to Spuds and be mouth happy. Here, try them. That's right, Spud cigarettes are actually cooler than cool. Even when you have a cold and ordinary cigarettes taste like hay. Get Spud today, tipped or plain ends. Cost no more than ordinary cigarettes.
Spud cigarettes are cooler than cool. Smoke Spud cigarettes, that's the mouth happy rule.
Today I try to teach my grandchildren, who are now in the age where they want to try out a cigarette, never to smoke. I told them how bad it is. There are so many negatives against smoking. The only thing I can tell you, once you smoke seriously, it is the hardest withdrawal that there is. My favorite cigarette was Raleigh.
The worst days I went with Marlboro. Then they came out with a brand called Marlboro Medium. And I thought it was going to be so nasty, but I ended up enjoying it, and I smoked another 10 years afterwards.
I smoke Marlboro Reds.
I preferred non-menthol, but I would easily smoke menthol if it was the only cigarette available. I always made certain I had my cigarettes, or my best friends rather.
I smoke Winston Lights, sometimes Camel Lights.
Terrytons.
I started to smoke in 1949, and the cigarettes that were available for us in Eastern Germany were horrible. And there was a saying about one special brand, do you see the dead people there in the snow? Those are the bodies from, and then they named the brand that we smoked. I think people smoked sawdust at that time. Anything that would just create smoke. And eventually we had regular cigarettes, but always very, very poor taste. But that was all we knew. And the result was that they hooked us permanently.
I started when I was in college. I was 18 years old. Didn't smoke constantly, but I smoked off and on until I was 54 years old.
I was 14 when I started smoking.
I'm embarrassed to tell you that I smoked for 37 years. And I really think it's a choice, because I have a fraternal twin sister who did not smoke, in spite of the fact that both our parents were heavy smokers.
I've been smoking for 9 years now.
Well, it was the thing to do at 16. We'd get out at high school and we'd go to the public library and smoke in the ladies' restroom there.
At the beginning, I think probably just because it was still cool at that time.
A girl I liked offered me one, and I was not going to turn her down.
I loved seeing the smoke come out. I loved having something to hold on to. I just liked it.
I believe the first time I smoked a cigarette was at a friend's house. Their parents, we stole some from their parents and smoked them then.
It was the in thing at that time, especially for us girls. And we were also proud, and the first cigarettes tasted pretty awfully, but I became addicted very quickly.
I quit for 2 years, and then like a fool I went back to it.
I would quit if I could. I've tried. Sometimes it's a pretty hard battle.
I would quit, for sure. Not right now.
Nothing ever really worked. I'd go right back to it, and I just got weary of trying to quit. So I made a little deal with myself, and that deal was I would smoke for the next 6 months, all I wanted, But at the end of the 6 months, I was going to cold turkey, and that's exactly what I did.
I've been a non-smoker now for about, it'll be almost 3 years.
10 years. I have not touched one cigarette. In the beginning, I was fearful if I picked up even one cigarette that I would become addicted again.
In 1999, I made up my mind on New Year's Eve to smoke my last cigarette. On New Year's Day, I broke my promise to myself right away again, and the following day, the 2nd in 2000, I quit permanently, and if a year or so later, I was found out that I had lung cancer. I didn't smoke anymore, but I felt pretty sickly. I had a lung operation here in the United States, and it was cancer, but those were small squamous cells, and I had no after treatment, and I'm very, very lucky that I survived.
Sometimes you hear the story, smoking more and enjoying it less, and towards the last couple of years that was really the case. I was smoking, but I think when I look back, I was probably mentally preparing myself to quit smoking because it had become to a word when it was not as enjoyable as it was at the beginning.
It felt like someone in my family had died. It was like a loss of a person, that I'd lost someone. It was very depressing.
It calms stress, and you know, stress is a part of everybody's life, and I think once you're a smoker, that just doesn't go away.
There's nobody to, should I say, push me around in a wheelchair if I get emphysema or COPD. I don't think it's very sexy walking around with oxygen in my nose.
New Spud by the makers of Marlboro. New Spud has a filter tip. It has a crush-proof box. It has a fresh taste like it was air-conditioned. You're going to try New Spud tomorrow. You're going to try New Spud. You're going to buy a pack tomorrow.